Hi everyone, welcome to the CPAPstore.ca. My name is Tristan. Today we're looking at the 4 full face masks offered by ResMed. Now they do offer other full face masks, but these are the more modern of the 4. There's some legacy masks that are still produced, but these are like the 4 modern ones that people are talking about today. So the masks that we're looking at today are the F20, okay? And this is the AirTouch version. It also comes in the AirFit version. We'll talk about that in a minute. We have the F40. We have the F30i, and then we have the F30, okay? So 20, 30, 40, 30i. These are basically some of the most popular CPAP masks on the market, and I wanna run through kind of what they each look like, what they all offer, what the difference is between the 4, so you can choose, especially if you're choosing a full face mask for the first time. And then I'm gonna talk about a little bit about leaks. Now I'm gonna offer my personal opinion on these masks and how they fit my head. That being said, that's not the best thing to go off of. You should go off other reviews and stuff like that as well before purchasing a mask, and often going to a sleep clinic as well and testing it on and getting a mask fitted, because my nose is very squishy. Okay, I have a very flat face. I'm half Asian, and so I have a flatter, softer nose compared to most Caucasian people that, like this guy here, Eric, that a lot of these masks are tested and fitted on, because I think that is the biggest demographic within at least the States. And sometimes I have a more favorable opinion to a certain mask that might be a little more niche, okay? But I'll try to give you my best observation on who I think these masks would be good for and why. So let's get started. So the first one I'm gonna go over is my favorite, the F40. Now, I know I just said that about, you shouldn't take my opinion because, everyone has a different face. Everyone's mask is gonna fit differently, but I truly believe, just knowing masks well enough, working in the CPAP industry long enough, I can pretty much say that I think the F40 is gonna fit most people. I think the first line in advertisement ResMed gives for the F40 is it fits 98% of people. And the reason what makes the F40 unique out of this bunch here is basically the soft cushion. The F40 is the first full face mask to have a cushion that is completely soft like this, okay? All other full face masks have a hard cushion around, I guess, well, there's like the soft cushion, but then there's like the reinforcement of the cushion. That's hard, but the F40 is completely soft. And that is why I can pretty much recommend this mask to anybody, because it's soft, it's form-fitting. Just like how a blanket or a sponge or whatever is gonna form fit into anybody's hand, I think the F40 is gonna fit into most people's lifestyles, okay? So that's the F40. We have 4 adjustment points on this mask, magnets on the side of this mask, no adjustment point on the top here, and that's about it. We have a quick release here with a 360 swivel. It doesn't have any ball joint or anything, keeps it nice and slim, just the 360, and I think that's good enough. I wouldn't want an extra ball joint on this to make it a little more bulky. I prefer it to have it like this. It's just enough. It's not like the Evora that doesn't have anything, or the like F20, which has a lot of things going on, which I think is a little too bulky. I think the F40 is a good happy medium. And then magnets, like all these masks have the magnets. And then the front fascia of the mask, you can see this portion here doesn't go straight up. A Fisher & Paykel mask called the Evora, which looks similar to this, has a headband strap that goes straight up, and it kind of is annoying next to your eye, and then it cuts into your ear. What I like this is it swoops around the bottom of your cheek and goes around your ear. So that's the F40 for you. The most similar mask here to the F40 would be the older version, I guess, the F30. I assume they're gonna be keeping both of these masks for a while, because the F30 also has a very big following. You can see with the F30, it has that ball joint on the front. It has the 360 swivel as well, but it's just not as minimal as the F40. That being said, it's not a huge thing, but I do like the F40 being a little more sleeker and having almost as much mobility as you need. The reason why this ball joint is good, however, is as you can see, the F40 comes with this elephant trunk, whereas the F30 doesn't, meaning that your climate line tubing is gonna go directly onto the F30, just like that, okay? So what's great about this is that you have climate line tubing going all the way to basically where your mask starts. And that means you're gonna have less water droplets because you have heated air going all the way to your mask. Whereas with the F40, you might have a little more rain out because This section here is gonna be a little bit cooler air because you don't have the heated tube portion. On the flip side, it's a lot lighter around your face area. The other difference between this and the F40 is you have a band up top here, which you can adjust right here. And then again, like we talked about, it has the harder front fascia of the mask here. So both on the mask headgear, right? And then on the cushion, it has that harder front, okay? So that's the big difference with those two. If you're comparing the F40 and the F30, I think they're very similar masks, but I think the F40 being, I guess, maybe 5 years newer now. I mean, it has 5 years of data to back it up, 5 years of innovation, and it is a much better mask, I think, for most people. Now, the next mask we're gonna be looking at here is the F30i. So I'm gonna just take these two guys out of the way. And the F30i is unique because it is a top-mounted mask, a hollow frame mask, and that's what makes it unique out of all of these guys. So a top-mounted mask is great for side sleepers because of the rotation elbow at the top of the head. So as Eric rotates, he can even do a 360. You know, look at his mobility running around, rolling around. The tube stays in the same spot in the bed. So especially if you have this hung up on a tube hook, you're gonna have minimal tube drag around the pillow, choking you, getting around your arm and your armpit and your shoulder and your ear and all that stuff. It's really kept away from things. So if you are a side sleeper and you don't mind the extra noise that you might hear from the side of this mask, I definitely recommend the F30i. Similar to the F30, has a front hard fascia there, but it's not as hardcore because you don't have to connect the tube here. So it's a little more minimal up front. I think it's a better sealing mask. I think it's a better mask overall than the F30. I think that it seals a little bit better and I don't find it as constricting. I feel like with the F30, I have to tighten the straps a lot more, whereas the F30i, I feel like it stays in place a little bit better while having a same or similar leak rate. Okay, and then the last mask we're gonna be looking at today, I'm gonna rotate Eric so hopefully he doesn't autofocus there. Back to me, camera, back to me. Is the F20, okay? This is the F20 AirTouch variety. It comes in the AirFit. So the difference between an AirFit and an AirTouch is the AirTouch has a memory foam around the cushion, whereas the AirFit is just the silicone. I'll put a picture here. The differences between the AirTouch and the AirFit are as follows. So the AirTouch, you can't wash it. You shouldn't really get it wet because it is a very porous material. You can't really wipe it and wash it out. So you typically have to replace this mask here or this cushion here every 30 sleeps. Okay, so if you're using it every day, it's gonna be once a month. If you're using it as a relief mask, it's gonna be, you know, whatever 30 sleeps is for you. The other difference is with people with fuller beards or facial hair, people find that generally that the F-Touch memory foam contours a little bit better. Now with the AirFit, you can wash it, you can wipe it, you can keep it clean, you can keep it for longer, you can keep it for, you know, 3 months. If you're keeping it clean and it's not breaking down, right? It's in 3 months or even 6 months is a lot better than 30 days. That being said, both cushions are interchangeable with the headgear and the mask. So you can buy an AirFit, which I think is a few dollars cheaper. And then if you don't like it, you can get an AirTouch cushion and try that out as well, okay? And I'll run through this mask as a whole. So we have the magnets on the side. We have the 4 adjustment points. As you can see, the side here goes really nice and low on the cheek there and then curves up right here and then up. Really don't feel any rubbing on the ears or anything like that with this mask. You have the 360 elbow with the swivelly ball joint as well. So because we have climate line tubing going all the way up here, it is a little nicer to have that mobility. And then we have a quick connect as well. On the front, of course, we have that typical hard plastic you're gonna get on almost all full face masks. And on the back here, we just have 2 places where you're gonna distribute pressure, both at the back of the neck and kind of at the top of the crown there. Time for my opinions and who I think these masks are for. So starting with the F20, I think it is our best selling mask. The F20, AirFit and AirTouch variety are used by tons of people. A lot of people like them. They're often a first starter mask. So doctors, because it's just so easy to fit, like, oh, there you go, you're a large or a small or whatever. It's pretty easy to fit someone into an F20 mask. And overall, you're gonna have a pretty decent CPAP experience. It goes around your cheek. I find that it's very sturdy on the head. It doesn't move around. It's very easy to adjust. It's just an overall great mask for most people. Now I say most people because for me, the F20 and me don't get along very well, mainly because I don't like how the cushion works. Because it goes up here on the bridge of the nose here. If you've watched some of my videos, you know that I have a very squishy nose, and I don't have huge nasal cavities. So as soon as you put a little bit of pressure just there, like, it's very hard for me to breathe out of my nose. And breathing out of your nose, even in a full face mask, is a lot more comfortable, at least in my opinion, than breathing out of your mouth in full face mask. And so if I wear this, I immediately can't breathe out of my nose very well, and it's uncomfortable. So I never would ever probably sleep with an F20 for me personally. That being said, in terms of controlling leaks on the average person, what we find at the CPAP store is that the F20 can hold quite a bit of pressure, up to 20 pressure, 25 pressure, I guess you have a BPAP machine. And if it does fit you, if it does work with you, it holds the pressure very well and doesn't leak. For me, because I just have such a small nose and stuff, I do find a little bit of leaking through here at a 20 pressure. But overall, I think it's a pretty good mask for most people. The reviews are high, a lot of people like it. I don't like it personally, but it's a great starter mask, especially if you look like Eric and you have a more of a Caucasian type face, you're probably going to like the F20. And I say that because that's just how a face is. If you watch The Lanky Lefty, which is another YouTuber that makes CPAP content, him and I seem to disagree on masks we like quite frequently because we probably have the most polar opposite face shapes. He has a very angular face, a very structured bone structure, a pointier nose. And so from what I remember in his videos, he loves the F20. It just doesn't work for me. So if you're considering it, maybe watch another review on an F20, see other people's opinions, see if your face matches them more than me or what have you, okay? The next part of the opinion portion of this video is the F30i. We're gonna be comparing the F30i to the F30. If you are a side sleeper, I would choose the F30i. I think in most cases, I would choose the F30i. I think the F30i actually outsells the F30 on our website as well. I find the F30i to be more comfortable than the F30. I find it to be a lot better in terms of hose management because the tube is up top. And overall, I think it fits my mouth a little bit better and controls leaks a little bit better. I think overall, it's a very good mask. I think the F30i does fit quite a lot of people. So if you're looking for a good side sleeper mask and you don't want something that goes on top of the nose, I would choose the F30i and not even worry about it. I think it's a great mask option. Now, one thing I do want to note is the exhale ports down here, these dots down here, do shoot a decent amount of air. So if you do have a partner that you're sleeping with, you might find that you're kind of shooting them with air a little bit because the vents are just down here and there's quite a few of them. It just seems like they blow quite a bit. It doesn't blow as hard as the Evora full face mask. I think that really shoots a lot more air, but it does blow a lot more air forward than the F30. Okay, so great side sleeper hollow frame mask. And then between the F40 and the F30, I would say the F40 any day of the week. I think they are so similar, but the F40 is just better than the F30 in like every way, in my opinion. So if you're looking between the F30 and the F40, I would just go with the F40. I think it's gonna fit more people and I think it's gonna be more comfortable. And I think there's also more sizing varieties. The F30 has a small and a medium cushion. I'm not sure about the headgear, but I know that in terms of just variants of sizing, it doesn't have a ton of options, where the F40, I know it's a super new mask and a lot of people don't have it yet, but it's going to be coming with a lot more different sizes. So I would go F40 over F30. Now, overall, what would be my favorite mask out of all of these masks? For myself, F40 better than all these masks, like bar none, okay? If I was known to roll around all day long and use a super high pressure, I would go with the F30i. I think it's more comfortable, and I think at a 20 pressure, the F30i was actually keeping a better control of my leak than the F40 was. Not a huge amount, and I couldn't really notice a big difference between a pressure of, let's say, below 16 or below 17, but at 20, I was like, I think the F30i is a little bit better at holding the pressure than the F40. And then in between the F20 and the F40, of course, I'm gonna go with F40 because it's one of my favorite masks where I literally can't use this. But that being said, when I'm looking at our clients and our feedback that we get from the F20, I think maybe if you can get a good seal on the F20 at a 20 pressure, I think it might still outperform an F40. But it would be hard for me to say because the F40 holds a leak way better for me. At a high pressure, holds way better leak than the F20. The F20, I just leak in it. So I personally can't really say it. But I think for those who are already on an F20, who have the F20 dialed in, they like it, they're at a high pressure and doesn't leak that much, it would be a very tough one to pick which one would hold a leak better. As a whole though, I still think the F40 is a little more comfortable. It's not as intrusive on the face. I like everything below the nose and I like the headgear. I like the softness of the cushion. And if you just look at just the size of these masks, like which one do you think is gonna have a bigger chance of pushing the pillow and moving it where it creates a leak? You know, the F20 is literally like 3 times bigger. So in terms of just minimalism, I just have to say the F40. So that pretty much completes the video for us today. If I were to rank these from best to worst, for me, best would be F40, then F30i, then the F30, and then the F20. But if I had to put money on it and bet on, say, the next customer coming into our store, what would be the best mask for the average person, I would say the F40 at the top, probably the F20, then the F30i, and then the F30. Okay, so that's my tier list. I hope it helps. And don't forget to leave a comment and tell us your thoughts.